Hey guys, my name's Tom Azorio. This is my speech for public speaking. Here's my group of friends. Okay, hopefully this works. I've had this fail a few times. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about the Fair Food Program. So food is something that's very readily available to us in the United States. We probably have something sitting in our fridge that's well past expiration date, let's be honest here. But what we don't think about is its journey to our fridge. So, the Fair Food Program I found is a nonprofit. And the reason I chose this one is because after digging into the research they provided onto their website and doing some of my own, some of the things I found have been somewhat disturbing, but I'm also glad they're here for that same reason. For something that's just a part of our everyday life, we can take it for granted. And, I'm hoping that what I'm going to tell you can definitely make us more appreciative, not just of what we have, but the people behind it. And I'm hoping to show you what can be done to help those people. So, how does the food normally get to us? We can all kind of agree food grows on a farm, right? And when we think of a farm, we have an image of a farmer, overalls, a straw hat, maybe a cow, something like that. And yeah, that is the case nowadays. But how our food actually gets to us, big corporations, I'm talking McDonald's, Burger King, Kauai Coffee, from everything I found, they actually for these farms, whether they're owned by them or under other mom and pop kind of farmers, they're actually using field workers. Now, I'm pretty sure we might have driven by a farm or two and seen what we thought were farm hands. Majority of the times, those are field workers. In fact, a reporter with PBS, Magali Nunez, in a recent report found that over 80% of these field workers are undocumented immigrants. And this is what I wanted to talk about here. Now, the recruitment of people for labor under fraud for the purpose of involuntary servitude or slavery. That is what the Department of Justice considers labor trafficking. This was very disturbing to find out, to be honest with you. End Slavery Now, a nonprofit that's actually aimed at ending human slavery, which falls under labor trafficking and human trafficking, found that 80% of human trafficking instances are not reported by the people under subject to it for fear of deportation or fear of arrest. Those are very shocking and very sad numbers. And this just kind of got worse as I did more research. There was another story published by PBS. They actually shared the first-hand accounts of female field workers and their stories of sexual assault and how they did not report it to any authorities of any kind for fear of being deported back to their country, for fear of getting arrested, for fear of actually getting beat. And this isn't the first time that you'll see something like this if you look this up. Because Kauai Coffee, as mentioned earlier, what happens is a lot of these companies don't do the hiring for the field workers themselves. They go through what's known as a labor staffing companies, which is where we find the story of Global Horizons next. Global Horizons work for big coffee companies such as Kauai Coffee. They are currently facing a lawsuit by the federal government. What had occurred was they brought in workers from another country to be field workers, and immediately they had their passports taken away. This is a very common practice seen in this kind of industry. These workers were confined to a home, which they found to be in dilapidated condition. In some instances, you could even see that there wasn't any running water. These people were not allowed to leave, and that's the basic definition of human trafficking. Some people might argue, well, if these people aren't documented, if they're not supposed to be here, what rights do they have? And to that, I have to say human rights. Everybody deserves to be treated as a decent human being, and almost nobody is an exception of that. These are people that are being coerced. These are people that are being promised a better life, and they don't have that. And that is why I'm very glad I found the Fair Food Project. Under the last 10 years, they've actually held human rights-based conduct. You can see on their website that they've actually won multiple awards for human rights, and they also have zero tolerance for the companies they do business with. for forced labor, child labor, and sexual assault. They have a decade history of legally binding agreements with companies like Wendy's, like McDonald's, to ensure that these people are being taken care of. They go so far as to conduct field interviews with the workers, with people in their language, to make sure that not just the companies are adhering to the rights, but that they're being taken care of. Something I found incredible about the Fair Food Project that I didn't even think about just because of the life I've had, they fight for these people to be able to work in the shade. You might think that, yes, that's a little insane to expect people to work in the shade. But coming from Arizona, have you ever been on a 2-hour hike in 120-degree weather? Okay, now imagine doing that, but for 8 hours straight without any breaks, because they fight not just for shade, for time breaks, for lunches, for wage increases. They've actually given back $28 million in premiums to these same farm workers that they aim to protect. Now, what can we do? What can we do to make sure that we're doing something about this? This is the great thing about their website. Not only can you do a one-time donation in any amount, you can do recurring monthly donations, whether it's $1, $10, $20. They also have merchandise that's available. Overall, I know that our food surprisingly takes a very dark journey, but what made me very happy at the end of this is that there are good people in the world and good companies that just want to make sure everybody's being treated fairly. And I feel like the Fair Food Project is one of them. I'm very glad to have done this report on them. I'm very glad to see that there's some hope. And that's what the Fair Food Project has shown me. So if you're interested, please donate fairfoodproject.com. Thank you very much. And I've been Thomas Oreo.